Welcome everybody to our collaboration and conversation with Sharks for Kids. I'm Jennifer Hammonds, Director of Education for the National Wildlife Federation. And today, if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A and we will get to all questions at the end of our presentation. As I said, I'm the Director of Education at National Wildlife Federation, but I was also a classroom teacher for 15 years. So having conversations about the ocean, about the wildlife and habitats of the ocean, especially sharks, is very near and dear to my heart. And with that, I would like to pass it over to Michelle from Sharks for Kids as we move forward with our presentation. Michelle.
Hi, thanks, Jennifer. Hi, my name is Michelle. I am an education ambassador for Sharks for Kids. And I'm super excited to talk about my favorite subject with you today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and then we can get started. And there we go. Okay, so firstly, just a little bit about me, okay? So I'm talking to you because, yes, I have an underwater passion and I absolutely love sharks, but I also used to teach scuba. So you can see the scuba gear on my back there. You can see the air tank and the mask, okay? And that helps me to stay underwater a little bit longer. Now, you can hear my accent. I am based in the UK, but I travel the world trying to have amazing encounters with sharks. So I've spent many thousands of hours exploring the underwater world and being able to spend time with these truly magnificent creatures. So have a look at the photos here. You can see on the other side, I am with the largest shark in the ocean, the whale shark. No, it's not a whale, it is a shark, and it can get as big as a school bus. They can live up to 100 years old, and they are filter feeders. They scoop up huge clouds of plankton, which are the tiniest creatures in the ocean. Okay, so whale sharks live in warm oceans. So I also teach virtual lessons with Sharks for Kids, and I go into classrooms and talk about how important and fascinating these incredible animals are to our ocean. So I take my underwater camera too, so you can see the photos at the bottom. Those are some that I have taken. And I do this so I can record and share the amazing interactions that I have. And I can share them with schools and organizations and other people just like today. So wherever I travel in the world, I always ask advice from local dive operators or snorkel operators so that I can get the best advice about the species that live in those particular areas. So I am also part of the creative team for Sharks for Kids. So I am super passionate at thinking up super fun crafts and finding new ways to explore and learn and share about sharks. And you can find all these cool resources free on our website. So take a look at those. So I'm super excited to dive into the jawsome world of sharks with you today. So let's go. So have a look at this video. If you know only one species, I bet you know this one. Yes, it is the great white shark. It's featured on loads of documentaries. It's big. It's what most people will draw when you ask them to think of a shark. So they've got this pointy snout, huge dorsal fin, and toothy smile. They are the rock star of the shark world. Now, sharks have been around for over 400 million years. 400 million years. This means that some form of shark was around before dinosaurs and even trees. So I want to show you today that sharks don't all look like that great big white shark that we just saw swimming in the video. There are over 500 different species of shark, and each year new ones are discovered, and that's super exciting. So I want you to have a look at this photo and look at all these different shapes. And what else can we notice? There's different colors, different sizes. And you know what? All these sharks have different behaviors. Some swim together in large numbers, others prefer to be on their own. So you can find sharks in every ocean and even some river sharks too. Some species are migratory, so they swim many thousands of miles, like the great white shark. And they may do this to find prey, to find some food, or to find a mate. Or you get some species, like the shark in the middle, the wobbegong, that like to stay very local, maybe along a coastline. So even though they're all different, they are still all sharks. So all these different species, they live in different habitats. These habitats provide food and shelter, things that all animals need and people need to survive. So we've got seagrass beds, we've got some mangroves there with the roots hanging down into the water there. We've got coral reefs, we've got sandy bottoms and open oceans too. Some sharks, like the lemon shark pups, so baby lemon sharks, will start out in the shallow mangroves for protection from those mangrove roots, but when they get older or mature, they move out into deeper ocean waters. So they would have a different habitat as they grow, just like you might go to a different school as you get older or move on to a college and you'll move around. So different habitats for different shark species. So first big question, what is a shark? Well, you might be thinking, is it a mammal? Maybe a fish? Well, sharks are fish. If you have any fish at home, maybe a goldfish, you may be thinking, they don't look like my fish. And that's because there are some very, very big differences that we're going to go into. So have a look here. Another question I have is, how many bones do you think sharks have? Well, none. Sharks don't have any bones in their body, but they're not all wibbly wobbly, okay? They have a skeleton, but it's made up of cartilage. So have a little bend of your ear, or maybe even a wiggle of your nose. You have cartilage too. Well, some cartilage, okay? And in this photo, you can see the inside of a shark fin. And on the other side, you've got the hard, stiff fish bones. So the shark's whole entire skeleton is made out of this cartilage. And as you've just discovered, it's very flexible and it's lightweight. And that means sharks are able to do some very gymnastic style turns and twists in the water when they swim because it's that super flexible. So, excuse me just a minute. So if you've ever seen fish in an aquarium or in the ocean, or you've held a fish, you'll also see that they have these shiny silvery disc-like scales that protect their body. But shark skin is different. So on the left, you'll see that you can't see any of those silvery disc scales. Lots of people think that shark skin is very smooth, like a dolphin's, but actually it's not. It's very, very rough. Just like a nail file or sandpaper. If you have any of these at home, maybe go and have a feel, and that gives you an idea of what a shark feels like. So it's very rough. But why is it rough? If we take a closer look on this nurse shark, we can see that they have microscopic tooth-like structures. These are called dermal denticles. So these are just different words. So dermal is another word for skin, and denticle means tooth-like structure. So skin teeth. Crazy skin teeth, a whole suit of skin teeth. So what happens when we go swimming for a long time? If you've ever noticed, our skin goes all wrinkly and very soft. We're not really built for the ocean, and whereas sharks are. So under a high-powered microscope, you can see these dermal denticles, these skin teeth, have lots of tiny grooves in them. And this helps the shark to move through the water easily. We call this hydrodynamic. And it allows the shark to swim faster while using a lot less energy. So it makes it easier for the shark. So their skin is super strong and super protective. You can think of it like a suit of armor. So super protective. You can see these tooth-like structures much easier on this video. Okay, so this is a scan of a leopard shark, and they really do look like little teeth now, all squished together. It is, oh, super cool. So another big difference between sharks and other fish, okay, is how they have their babies. Now, fish spawn thousands of eggs into the water to be fertilized externally. But sharks don't do that. They have internal fertilization, okay? And some sharks, not all, produce egg cases, just like you can see in this picture, okay? So you can see through these egg cases. They're made of a type of structure that's like hair. We call this keratin. And this means if you hold a light behind the egg case, you can actually see through it. And you can see this small yolk that provides the baby shark with everything it needs until it's ready to break through from that egg case. There's also a small opening as well that allows oxygenated water to go in and out of this egg case. So different shark species produce different egg cases, and you can see that in this photograph. You can see they've got little tendrils that sort of spiral off the top. This helps when mama shark has laid the eggs, they will actually be able to clasp onto seaweed or kelp. And you can see in the bottom of this photograph, this little horn shark breaking free of this corkscrew egg case. And this egg case is more wedged. Mom will wedge the egg case into the rocks to keep it safe until the baby shark is ready to break out. So other sharks give birth to live young. This lemon shark was attached to its mother by an umbilical cord, just like we were when we were born. And that little tiny gray line you can see with the arrow pointing to it is actually the shark's belly button, which is super, super cool. So it's an umbilical scar. Now, they don't keep their belly buttons like we do. The scar actually heals over after about a year. And also, this shark has been flipped over just to take this photograph during a researcher doing some work on the shark. But not to worry, it is in something called tonic immobility, okay? And this is a sleep-like state. So don't worry, when it's flipped back over, it's going to very happily swim off. So no matter how you are born, mom, okay, and dad sharks don't take care of the babies. So even though they're very small, okay, as soon as they are out, they can swim, they can find food and shelter, and they are ready to go. So sharks and other fish breathe underwater using gills. They never need to go to the surface to get air. So fish have one opening to their gills on each side, while most sharks have 5 on each side, as you can see here in the photograph. So a few have 6 or 7 gill slits, but very helpfully, they are actually named the 6-gill shark and the 7-gill shark. So all the others will have these 5 gill slits. And on this photo, we can actually see right down the short fin mako's mouth. And we can see right to those gill openings. So we can actually see them from the inside. So as the shark swims, water is forced into the mouth and into the gills, where the oxygen is filtered out. Just like how when we breathe, our lungs filter out the oxygen from the air that we breathe. So the shark is filtering oxygen from the water, the ocean water that's traveling into the mouth and filtering out through the gills. So some sharks, like this oceanic whitetip here, have to keep swimming to survive. And they're called ram ventilators. And what that means is the water is being rammed into the shark's mouth by it swimming forward, okay? So they have to swim their entire life, okay? No stopping for a rest or a little snooze on the bottom or just hanging around. They have to keep swimming all the time, okay? Now, when we say they swim all the time, there are times when they slow down and they kind of coast a bit. They kind of relax a bit and let themselves glide to conserve a bit of energy. But then they're straight back swimming again, otherwise they can't breathe. So other sharks, like this lemon shark here, or the nurse shark on the bottom, so we've got the lemon on the top and the nurse shark on the bottom, can buccal pump. What does that mean? Well, this means they don't have to swim to breathe. They can laze around on the bottom and hang out. And this is when the shark positions itself into the current, so the water movement, and they use the muscles in their mouth to suck water up into their mouth and over the gills. And this allows them to breathe without having to swim. So we've got a little video here, and this is it in action. This is the lemon shark resting on the bottom, and you can see those gills opening and closing as the water has been over those gills and is actually coming back out into the ocean. So one of my favorite subjects with sharks is shark teeth. We can't talk about sharks without talking about their teeth. Yes, they have lots of teeth and they can be very sharp. But let's dig a little bit deeper into shark teeth, okay? So let's think. Do sharks have hands? No, they don't have fishing poles. They don't have, how do they grab their food and how do they eat it? Well, shark teeth come in some very different shapes and sizes, okay? And it depends on the species. So we've got 4 different ones here in this photograph. And think about how you eat your food, okay? So we have silverware and we choose different things depending on how we eat, what we're going to eat. We don't eat our soup with a knife. That might be kind of messy. And we don't cut up our sandwich with a spoon. We use different utensils. And that's basically just what sharks are doing, but they're actually built in to their mouth. So have a look at this photograph here. So we've got the nurse shark on the top left, and they have tiny teeth because they use them to crush prey items like lobster or conch, so large snails. And we've got the crazy looking cookie cutter shark on the top right there. This is an awesome tiny shark that swims up to its prey, and it gets its name because it takes a chunk out of its prey, a bit like if you were baking cookies and you would use that cookie cutter. So it doesn't eat the whole animal because it's very small itself. So it just takes this chunk. And we've also got the bottom left, we've got the tiger shark here. They have very serrated teeth. And this is just like a knife. And you know, imagine sawing through, maybe you've got some chicken or something you need to get through, or some steak or something, and you need to have that sawing action. Well, tiger sharks eat sea turtles, so they need to be able to saw right through the shell. And we've got lemon shark here on the bottom right, and they use their teeth for gripping and grabbing slippery fish, but also tearing fish. So some very different shapes because they eat very different prey. Now, that's not the only things that they eat. That the tiger shark eats more than just turtles. It will eat seabirds. It will eat, it has a very varied diet, but those teeth will tell us a lot about what it's going to eat, okay? So here you can see the prey of those sharks that we were just talking about. Now, sharks are not man-eaters, okay? They're not monsters. They're not just eating machines that go crazy looking for humans, okay? Bites do happen, but they are very, very rare. And I hope by seeing this, you can see that sharks have very particular diets, okay? They are wild animals, and we do need to respect that, okay? But their teeth are designed for a very specific prey, okay? And they have favorite foods just like you and just like me. So that's an incredible variety of teeth. They also have something very special with their jaw. So this is a photo of a lemon shark moving forward as if it was biting a fish. Now you can see that that jaw is coming out a bit. What's happening there? Well, sharks can't grab or pick up their sandwich. So this lemon shark is swimming towards a fish as if it was eating it. So this upper jaw of the shark is not fixed to the skull like ours. So our top teeth are fixed and we can't move them. But sharks aren't. So it means that their jaw slightly extends enough to give it a bit more grip onto its prey. So an absolutely awesome way of making sure you get your snack. Now, there are lots of different shark species teeth on this slide here, but this is to show you some real variety here. Now, hopefully, now you might be able to tell just by looking at this that these teeth are designed for different prey. So remember, those flatter teeth are much better for crunching. A bit like your back teeth. If you've got a little, maybe a hard candy, you might pop it to the back and give it a crunch. You're not going to use the front teeth because you might break one. So we have an awesome activity for this that you can download from our website. You can have a go at guessing which shark species. So you can have a look at that if you want to dive more into shark teeth. So sharks have lots of rows of teeth too. As a shark loses the front teeth, others will move in its place to replace them. And this means they lose thousands of teeth in their lifetime. We only get baby teeth, they fall out, and then we get our grown-up teeth. And then we have to look after them very, very carefully. But sharks don't. And you can see in this video how the teeth are moving forward and then falling out. This is the jaw of a great white shark. And remember that sharks' teeth are really important to them, as this is how they eat and how they actually survive. So I could talk about teeth all day because it is one of my absolute favorite things to talk about, but we must move on to shark fins. Okay, so fins are very iconic. We see that dorsal fin a lot, okay? They are so incredible. Different species of shark, different fin shapes, also different numbers of fins as well. So sharks use their fins to swim, but they use them to propel through the water. It helps them to steer, and it helps to give them lift as well, so they're not sinking to the bottom. So this great white shark here is going to demonstrate for us beautifully. We've got number 1 and number 2 are dorsal fins. Okay, so not all sharks have 2 of the dorsal fins. Number 3 is a caudal fin, or the tail fin. We've got an anal fin, which is number 4. Number 5 is pelvic fins. And number 6 is pectoral fins. So when you're looking at different shark species, have a look at how many fins they have and how those fins are actually shaped differently. So let's have a look at shark senses. Now, do sharks have the same 5 senses that we have? Well, I can see some eyes there, so I'm going to guess they've got eyes. Ears, let's have a look. Well, yes, they have all 5 senses that we do. They even have ears, but they also have some extra senses as well. So sharks have nostrils. Okay, we call them nares. They only use them for smelling. Okay, no breathing. That all goes on in the gills. They have very good eyesight. Okay, they're very similar to our eyes, but depending on where the shark lives, whether it's a deep ocean shark or a shallow shark, it will depend on the size of the eye, maybe how much light it needs to let in. And they also have taste too. So have a look at this video. This is a beautiful, beautiful tiger shark in the Bahamas here in Bimini. Coming up, very inquisitive. Coming to have a little look at the camera. We've got his gorgeous great hammerhead here. Have a look at the snout. Have a look at the fronts of the shark here. And you can see some little tiny dots. I didn't know sharks had freckles. See the little dots on the snout there? And there's a beautiful great hammerhead coming here. See the eye and those nares we just talked about. And it's coming up looking curiously at the camera. So it's not trying to eat the camera, by the way. It's just rubbing the snout, okay, on the camera. So those freckles, well, they're not actually freckles. This is another sense, a super sense that we don't have, called the ampullae of Lorenzini. It's a long word, but it basically means electroreceptor, okay? These electroreceptors allow the shark to feel the heartbeat of an animal. Now, you might think that sounds a little crazy. Electric receptors? Well, muscle tissue and hearts give off a very weak electrical signal, electrical pulse, and they can actually pick this up. So think of like a metal detector over the sand, looking, not for treasure though. If you're a great hammerhead, you're going to be looking for stingray. because that's your favorite snack. So these electroreceptors help them to find food and help them to survive. So in this picture, in this photo, we can see those electroreceptors. They're not balls of wool. Okay, you can see the dermal denticles, the skin teeth around, but then you can see these electroreceptors. And sharks have a lot of these over the business end of the shark, so the snout of the shark. So another sense that we don't have is called the lateral line. Now, these are pores that run down the side of the body of the shark. And this red dotted line is just showing us where it is. And it's a sensory system that allows them to detect movement in the water. I'd kind of like this sense as well, because I think this would be really easy for playing games in the yard. You wouldn't bump into each other. This would be amazing, I think, sense to have if we could have it. So we've seen some awesome things that all sharks have, but I just wanted to show you there are some very special sharks that do have some very different adaptations. And there are sharks that glow. So we have here the swell shark. Now, if you're a swell shark, you could see this awesome green glow, okay? We, unfortunately, could only see the brown swell shark, and that's because this is taken with a very special camera. This shark is able to absorb sunlight and then give it back in its own party glow, which is super, super cool. So have a look here. So this was discovered fairly recently, and scientists think it's a way of communicating to other swell sharks, because sharks don't make noises. They don't howl or tweet. So this could be a way of communicating. So awesome, awesome glowing sharks. Also, one of my favorite adaptations is camouflage. Now, we saw that big great white at the beginning, but actually most sharks are very small and under 5 feet long. So here we have awesome camouflage. If you're a smaller shark, you might want to hide out so that you don't get eaten, or you can hide and find some prey. So this is an angel shark here we're going to watch. So just watch what happens. Lying in wait, this little angel shark, completely camouflaged. Did you see that? It's an ambush predator. So it can lie in wait and then surprise, jump out on the fish to get its snack. Okay, so they will wait up to 2 days without moving. I mean, that is a lot of patience for your food. I'd be really hungry by then. So awesome camouflage in action. Now, different species of shark have different jobs. So some sharks are apex predators, meaning that they are at the top of the food chain, okay? But others, we like to think of them as the cleanup crew, okay? They're especially good at hunting for sick, injured, or dying fish. And this keeps the oceans healthy, helps to remove disease. But no matter where they are in the food web, they all eat other animals. So sharks play a vital role in maintaining the delicate balance of ocean ecosystems, okay? If it's unbalanced, there's going to be too much of one species, not enough of another species, and then it's all going to go a bit crazy, okay? And that's where you get a lot of unhealthy oceans. So we want to keep them healthy, okay? So sharks help to maintain something called biodiversity, okay? That means keeping a habitat healthy by allowing other different populations of other animals to survive and thrive, okay? And sharks are especially good at hunting those sick and injured and dying animals. So that is going to keep that biodiversity by doing their cleaning job. Okay, you can think of them as managers, sort of making sure everybody's doing their job. Okay, so these biodiverse communities are really, really important because these other creatures rely on each other to be successful. Okay, so healthy oceans are important for all of us, okay, no matter where we live. And healthy oceans need sharks. So we all need sharks. Now, unfortunately, 1/3 of all shark species are in big trouble and are killed. Millions are killed every year. Okay. Sharks face a variety of threats, okay, from around the world. And some of these are overfishing. That means catching too much of one species. And also something called bycatch. So catching, that means catching other species, like you can see in this photo, this picture here. Maybe this fishing boat went out to catch tuna, but unfortunately, you can see what else is on the line. They maybe caught a hammerhead or a manta ray, okay, or maybe even seabirds. So this is what we call bycatch, okay, catching other species. So that is a huge threat for sharks. Also, climate change and pollution as well. So 1/3 of all shark species are in trouble, big trouble, okay? That does mean a risk of extinction, okay, if we don't do something to help. So sharks are also used, they're fished for their fins, they're used for souvenirs, okay? They're caught and used in pet food and used in treats and cosmetics, okay? They also get stuck and entangled because plastic pollution is a very big problem, okay? But there are lots of things that we can do, okay? So all this means that it's really important, okay, that sharks have help from us, okay? They really, really need our help to help them survive. Now, I want you to know that there are many ways that you in your classroom and at home and in your community, wherever you live, okay, you can help to save sharks, okay? There's lots of different things that you can do. I bet you're doing some that you didn't even realize are already helping sharks. So you can use less plastic. You can encourage your friends and family to do the same. You can recycle. You can be a good junior scientist and research where your local fish that you eat comes from, okay? Maybe ask your grown-up, okay, just to have a look and maybe ask a few questions. Where is it coming from? Okay. You can avoid shark products. So again, ask your grown-ups maybe to help have a look and check what you're buying at the supermarket. You can make a poster, do some artwork. Okay, maybe you could have an exhibition in your classroom, in your school, to raise awareness about how vital and important sharks are to our oceans. Okay, you could make a beautiful craft and give it to a family member. We've got lots of things on our website that you can download for free to do. And you could share your favorite shark fact with a friend too. So be an advocate for sharks and help to get out how vital for our oceans they are. Okay, just going to stop sharing there. So there are so many ways in which we can help sharks. So I hope you enjoyed that today.
Yes, thank you so much, Michelle. And for those of you who are joining us who are eco schools, shark conservation action is definitely something you can undertake, especially if you're using the Create Your Own Action card. We have many different plastic specific or pollution specific action cards that you can use in your action plans. Also, all of those, no matter where you are, on the coast or inland, far away from the ocean or not, can help the conservation efforts for these important, beautiful creatures. Michelle, thank you so much. I do have a few questions for you if
Oh,
you're ready.
fantastic.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what is your favorite shark?
Um, okay, my favorite shark is the blue shark. I very recently got to snorkel with blue sharks. And that was incredible. They are um, they're about, well, they're a fairly small shark compared to what we saw in the beginning, the great white sharks. So they're more of a typical size shark. But they have this iridescent blue color across their back. Oh,
Mm.
if you've never seen one in a photograph, go and have a look because they're like little puppy dogs. That's what they look like. They've got these big eyes. They are migratory swimmers, and they just whiz around. They are just so cute. They are amazing.
Nice. So, does your favorite shark species equate to the favorite habitat you like to dive in, or is that different? What's your favorite
Great
habitat to dive
question.
in?
I like to dive in coral reefs. So no, it differs. So I do tend to find that my favorite shark does change if I've spent time. This is what's really difficult. It's so difficult to have a favorite because the more I learn about one species, it's going to become my favorite for quite a while. Yeah, because I find out some incredible new fact about it, the way it hunts, the way it lives its life, where it migrates to, and I'm just totally bowled over by just all of this information and how incredible they are. So yeah, it does tend to change, but I prefer to dive in coral reefs, and I prefer to dive in warm water as well.
Nice, thank you. Okay, what's your favorite shark adaptation?
Oh, this one is great. Camouflage.
Yeah.
Camouflage is my absolute favorite. So the angel shark, we do get that off the coast of the UK. I am yet to dive with it because it is quite an endangered species, so there aren't many, numbers.
Mm.
It's not as easy to encounter, but I'm fascinated by the patterns, the adaptation of how a shark can blend into its environment. That is incredible. When we look at photographs, it's very easy for us to see them because our eyes are in the air and we're looking at a photograph. But when you're underwater and you're actually diving, you can swim straight past some of them and then, oh my gosh, and then you can see it. So it really does work well underwater. It's incredible.
Nice. Awesome. Um, let's see. There was a question about your favorite dive spot you've ever been to, and that's probably related to your favorite habitat. But is there, since you've been all over the world, do you have a favorite place that you like to dive and observe?
Um, I like to dive in the Philippines. The Philippines is incredible for diving because it's warm and the clarity of water, but you get an abundance of species. There's some incredibly biodiverse areas where, you get the big whale sharks as well. And
Uh,
um, being able to dive with a whale shark again last year, I mean, that was on my list because they are just so gracious. So the
um,
Philippines was an incredible place to encounter them as well. Um, yeah, just again, the patterns, the colorations, the size. Yes, whale sharks are incredible too.
wow.
That was my
Yep.
favorite at the
Yes,
time then
yes.
too.
So I know Sharks for Kids has a bunch of resources that are just fantastic for the classroom, fun for families to do at home. For kids who are really interested in learning more about sharks, um, and knowing that sometimes the media, movies, and TV portray them as monsters or man eaters, what would you suggest as a great way for kids to continue learning?
Well, that's a great question. Um, We actually do have on the website, we have a lot of videos. So we have some, we call them the fin files. They are incredible. So there's some videos that you can watch, and you can learn more about individual species. So you can do a bit of a deep dive. We have some great fact sheets as well. So I think looking at the diverse range of sharks is really important, because the big sharks tend to get into the news or documentaries, and the reason is they're much easier to find and they're much easier to see. So they get a lot of coverage. But there are some incredible other species that just don't get as much airtime. And I think you can learn a lot by, yes, we've got posters and fact sheets, but also some videos as well that you can do some diving into. We've also got some past webinars as well, that have some fantastic ocean scientists on as well. So
Oh,
you can
that's
do
great.
a very deep dive. It is an awesome resource on the YouTube channel as well.
Fantastic. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for being our guest today. I just learned so much, and wonderful videos and images to see the variety of sharks and learn what we can do to be better shark stewards. So with that, thank you everyone for joining us today, and we'll see you next time. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you for letting us share. Thank you.
Uh-huh.